Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pedro. Obviously, I'm part of the TCN group, and now we're just going to go around and briefly introduce ourselves. At TCN, I was involved and still involved trying to create a tracking system for the alumni with the idea that once kids, graduate from TCN, the school has an interest in keeping in contact with them and see how they're doing in their, future endeavors.
Hi, and I'm Rena, and I worked on developing the Internship program, which is a internship program with the alumni of TCN starting in high school and trying to guide them through their high school years to prepare them for college. And I worked with Jolie on this.
Hi, I'm Jolie. I also worked with Rena.
I'm Giselle, and I worked planning the alumni reunion.
I'm Lauren, and I worked with Giselle, and we also did a little work on the middle school options fair.
I'm Loris, and I too worked on that middle school options fair as well as the alumni reunion.
And I'm Jessica, and I helped update the database and also worked alongside Pedro in creating a database in order to keep track of all the students that graduated. So now on to Think College Now. Think College Now is a nonprofit organization that is quite different from others that you may see because it functions as an elementary school in the unified Oakland School District. Their mission is basically to try to close the achievement gap among minority students. And as we know, in the minority community, for example, African American community and Latino Hispanic community, we rarely see these students academically succeed in the realms of college. So what their mission is to help raise the test scores among these students in these low income communities, such as Oakland, and they also help raise college awareness within the school part of the curriculum. Part of the theory of action and the way that they tackle this issue is by having community and partnership involvement. They believe it's really important to allow the community to feel that they can help contribute and be a part of this mission. Also, they focus on college in order to help these students at an elementary school level basically become aware of the opportunities that are out there and available to them if they work for it. They have a smaller class size, which is really important because there's a smaller student to teacher ratio. And they also, like the community and partnership involvement, they strive for parent involvement because it's very important to include the parents of the students to help feel like they can contribute and participate in their students' child success. They set really high expectations for the students, which helps them because it helps them work towards something to attain, and they have excellent teachers. They go through a series of process of selection and hiring in order to ensure that these teachers are passionate, prepared, and to help and are believe in the mission. The way that TCN exists is through government funding as well as private donations.
All right, TCN is definitely unlike any other elementary school I've ever seen or visited. It's really unique in that they really stress college to these students, and most of you probably haven't been there, but generally this school is located in a lower socioeconomic location with students who probably would struggle trying to get into college, but TCN really focuses on college with these students starting in kindergarten. And it's just amazing to see these kids know the difference between private and public colleges when I myself didn't really think about college until I was in high school. Having this early start really does set a foundation for success for these students because growing up, they're already encouraged to succeed and reach higher education. And it reaches these educational issues early instead of trying to make up for any loss that they may have gotten through like a lower quality of education, whereas TCN really does stress high quality education from the start so that they don't struggle throughout their years before they get into college.
Okay, so TCN is about making a difference. And their mantra is, si juntos se puede, together anything is possible. And that raises the question, is this just a slogan or a fact? We hope that with the next slides, we answer that question. But for me, what was important is why would a sociology student think of this question? Is a slogan or a fact? And, I call these educated stereotypes because I was thinking, I expected TCN to fit the stereotypical view that in order to break out of poverty, you need non-affluent communities lack the resources and the social capital to do so. And as I said, the strategy on the next lines hopefully will give you a specific answer to that. Who's next?
All right, so I'm going to be talking about what goes on in a TCN science class. My group and I, we worked closely with Brenda, and we went and shadowed a science class that Brenda was conducting. And I saw constant student engagement, dedicated teachers who are passionate about student learning. The children in the classroom were absolutely curious. They were just asking so many questions. They have a small class size, which allows more one-on-one interaction, and they were very hard workers. And I remember when we were in there, Brenda was standing around, they have these little trays of crayfish. And the students were asking Brenda, what are they doing? And the crayfish were mating. And she looked at them and they were all and she's like, well, they're making more crayfish. And I just thought that was, I don't know how I would have reacted to that or anything. But they're just always asking questions, always curious, wanting to learn more. And TCN definitely stands by, having children ask questions, having them be open to different opinions. And also, when you walk through the hallways, you see all this college paraphernalia that just invokes the mission that they have, which is getting these children to college.
Okay, so we learned that Think College Now is all about sending kids to college. But the true heart of Think College Now is the students. Not only does the mission provide hope and drive for college, it also provides real resources that inspire and help the students every day. So we see on the left-hand column, I put out some resources that the school provides. We have classroom supplies, small class sizes, free after-school programs, passionate teachers who have experience with programs like Teach for America, parent programs that work hard to incorporate parents into the child's education process, and programs designed to help the students post-graduation from the elementary school. So combined, these resources create an environment where inequality is not evident. And the students are able to benefit from the added support and resources and build their own cultural capital and everyday success. So we see that the direct result is improved attitudes, attentiveness, fascination with learning, and then relationships with adults. So the students learn how to shake hands with adults when they meet them, look them in the eye. So beyond a push for college, Think College Now provides cultural capital skills for students who take these skills into real-world situations and higher education.
All right, so as Loris mentioned, TCN sets itself apart from other Oakland schools, and some examples are its concern and support for the alumni. So the alumni graduate, and TCN is actually really concerned with them actually going to college. So as my fellow classmates have done here, my partner and I, we designed a mentorship program to help the students in high school to go to college. And the reason this is important is because those students may not have the same opportunities or knowledge because they may be the first generation to attend a four-year university. So the mentors hopefully will help them provide resources and knowledge to get there, to give a more level field to their probably wealthier counterparts. And TCN actually has a family resource center, which families are able to come in for consultation or any help they may need, which is also very unique. And what's really interesting is that on the walls of everything, where they have posted forms and bulletins for things, there's always bilingual forms. So families are never left out of what's going on or any new field trips coming up. And as Lauren mentioned, their middle school fair. This middle school fair gives students and families opportunity to see what options they have after graduating TCN, like a private, a charter, a public middle school to attend, and they also help out fill the applications.
Yeah, and so in addition to these resources, they also have highly qualified and motivated teachers, which, at a lot of other public schools, you find teachers that are burnt out and they're just trying to get through their day and they're not really engaging with the students. But at TCN, it was evident from just going there on the first time how motivated and excited the teachers were to be there. And I don't think they ever waver on their enthusiasm, which, really is a great resource for the students, just having teachers that are very motivated. And then also, like Giselle mentioned, they have a science lab. They have a classroom dedicated just to science and a teacher dedicated to science. A lot of other public schools, they have teachers that teach multiple subjects, so they don't have time to really prepare experiments. And Brenda, and it has time, who's the science teacher, she has time to really think and prepare experience and expand the students' education and really get hands-on, do hands-on activities to, really, so that they can see, what they're learning right in front of them. And then also, since government funding isn't really enough to provide all these resources, David Silver, the principal, has become a master fundraiser, and he spends a lot of his time trying to go out and get donations, which really makes TCN, run the way it can and be this exceptional school, and have all these resources that unfortunately a lot of other Oakland public schools do not have, or other public schools in low-income neighborhoods. And then, and lastly, the educators and principals really give motivation and incentives for these students. I think they had to read a certain amount of words and you were going to shave your head or dancing on the roof or all these certain incentives. And also, when I was there going through the halls with David, he was giving us a tour, and the kids he was high-fiving all the kids, and they were really excited to tell them, oh, I did my homework, and inform him of their progress, which really shows your involvement and teachers' involvement, and the students are really engaged and are active participants in their education, which is very important. And so I think that other students may go on to middle schools and high schools, and hopefully the foundation that TCN has set, instilling them that they can go to college and they can achieve these goals despite socioeconomic limitations. Hopefully this will carry through, even if they don't receive the same kind of resources later on, and that they will go on to attend college and really start increasing educational equity. Thank you.
With that, I would like to say, no, it's not a slogan in the TCN's case, it's a fact. They are doing it. So together, we can do a lot of things. Thank you. Okay, next presentation, Stiles Hall. Mike.
So good afternoon. Our group worked with Stiles Hall, and it was actually a privilege to get to know a little bit more in depth about the program. But just really quick, we wanted to just take a minute and introduce ourselves, and then we'll go into our presentation. My name is Manuela.
My name is Michelle Castellanos.
My name is Gabriela Escalante.
My name is Esmeralda Ortiz.
I'm Iris Esparza, and
we'll begin by giving a little background on Stiles Hall.
So first of all, as we worked with Stiles Hall in the certain programs with them or through observations, we came across a reoccurring theme with them, and it was that they were connecting with the community, and specifically with Berkeley. And so what we came up with, they were bridging connections with the community. So first slide here is a little bit of history about them. Stiles Hall was founded in 1884, and it's a private nonprofit agency dedicated to serving the broader community while enriching the lives of the UCB students. Stiles Hall board members consist of a diverse group of professionals. They range from professors to lawyers to judges, and so it gives them a wide range of input in that way. I'm going to pass it on to Michelle.
So some of Stiles Hall's missions include to help low-income students stay in college, to engage UC Berkeley students with community service, and to remain a center for real community hope and democratic values, as well as promoting understanding of interracial factors among future community leaders. Just to mention some of the full-time staff that really drive Stiles Hall through their passion and commitment to low-income youth includes the General Director, Dave Starks, Jennifer Church, the Office Manager, and who have been at the organization for a long time and really drive its stability, Nora Jones, Maria Martinez, and Leandro Robinson, who are the program directors. In addition to these full-time staff, Stiles Hall also has part-time staff and a large volunteer staff.
Stiles Hall offers a variety of programs for the Berkeley community, and some of us participated in them, which they'll go into depth a little bit. But just for a few, under community service, they have sports for kids. They have a mentor and tutor role model project, the elderly companion, and then Experience Berkeley and Berkeley Scholars to Cal.
Okay, I did Sports for Kids with Craigma. It's a program coordinated by Molly Lifford, and it's a program that specifies like volunteers participate in like training and playing sports with kids like after school or during lunchtime. They're age appropriate sports, so it's not like everybody just plays any sport. For example, I was with the kindergarteners most of the time, so I wasn't out playing soccer with them or dodgeball or anything like that. I was just coloring or helping them with homework or just watching them on the playground, playing tag with them. And as opposed to, I would see fifth graders and volunteers out with there, they would just play football with them, soccer with them. So it just really focuses on like making the kids comfortable and playing sports that they can manage and like be comfortable with.
So I was involved with Experience Berkeley, which is coordinated by Nora Jones. So Experience Berkeley, their goal is to increase the number of African American and Latino and Native American students applying and attending UC Berkeley. The program identifies like promising students, and they also have a transfer student. It's part of the program as well. And they basically bring these students up during the summer and introduce them to college life. They stay in the dormitories and just, get a feel for what Berkeley is. And then what I was doing with the program was kind of helping students out with like scholarship questions. They would email me and I would just kind of help them, give them feedback on like where to look, how to, write personal statements for scholarships.
Okay. I also work with Nora Jones and in the Experience Berkeley program for transfer students. And in this program, it was they provided mentors to future transfer students that were applying this year or to Berkeley. And what I did with Nora was basically created a presentation for to give to other community colleges so they will be able to recruit more students. I also help her organize, like keep in contact with all the coordinators and mentors in the program.
So this is just a couple of pictures that given through Experience Berkeley program that they were given to us, and so we wanted to post them up there to just kind of give a feel of the program. So a couple things to go that throughout the semester that we came across was the community involvement. It was a very strong relationship that Stiles Hall has with the community of Berkeley since being here for over 120 years, and also their relationship with the University of Berkeley, because that's where they get a lot of their support in terms of volunteers for mentors or tutors to go out to programs like Sports for Kids or other mentor programs that they go in after school programs with that. And so we saw that they had a huge engagement with the community in that way, and that they built these family-like relationships, not only with the community members, leaders, with school administrators, with the families and the students that actually they were serving. A little bit more about that.
To speak a little bit about the family-like environment, something we didn't mention earlier was that the 3 program directors were actually interns in Stiles Hall as undergraduate students, and they remained in the organization throughout their undergraduate career and now as alumni. They are really committed to this organization and will only recommend those who they feel have similar commitments. Within our time and observation at Stiles Hall, we also noticed that there's a really close community knit within the working relations. For example, the general director, Dave Starks, works very closely with the program directors, and he helps them aspire for their future endeavors also. The program directors mention very often that not only are they there to serve the organization, but they're provided with skills to reach their goals after their time there.
So, and really quick, not only was Dave, the general director, but we saw him as a mentor, just like Michelle mentioned, that he not only was concerned about the programs themselves, but also about his employees and how they could inspire to, succeed more, and not only with them, but with the volunteers, meeting with them and talking to them to see how he could help and, and get them connected to different resources that were available that they needed throughout the year, being students or just while mentoring if they had come over with a conflict and stuff. And so we thought that was really important, and it was amazing just to see that he stretched himself, to help not only the program but the person individually to have that connection with them.
We actually experienced a little bit of this ourselves when we entered the program. Dave met with us all individually and asked us what our goals were. He also gave us a lot of feedback and useful information that would help us reach our goals. So in that, we just really want to say how Dave fulfilled, the general director, as well as the whole staff really aim to fulfill the organization's mission and are very supportive of each other.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Beatrice, but I go by Betty, so you can call me Betty.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bailey.
I'm Jimmy Ng.
So we worked at Marcus Foster Education Fund. So we're going to tell you a little bit about our amazing organization that we worked at. So Marcus Foster Education Fund was established in 1973 by the superintendent of the time, Marcus A. Foster. His vision was that urban education can only be transformed when the community is actively participating in it. The fund was founded to raise funds to promote excellence in Oakland schools. And Marcus Foster Education Fund was the first institute of its kind in the country, and now is a resource for the development of more than 300 local or educational funds throughout the United States.
Our mission statement. The mission of the Marcus Foster Education Fund is to develop relationships and mobilize resources that create opportunities for all children in Oakland public schools to achieve excellence.
So there are a lot of tasks that have to get done at Marcus Foster. And so we just had to step back and think of who gets everything done. And there are only 2 staff at Marcus Foster. So as recently as a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, the fund had 7 full-time staff, and they had to downsize. And 2 faithful, hardworking full-time staff members stepped in, along with 13 board members. And so those 7, possibly 7 tasks are now managed by Miko McDonald, who is the director of operations and interim executive director, and kind of unmentioned are accounting and human resources, I believe. And Leo Lamana, who's the program director, and there are actually 5 programs, so that's all the 7 people that would be doing all these things is down to 2, and the 13 board members.
So what's unique about Marcus Foster is that they don't just focus on one aspect of education, they focus on all aspects of education, from families with their First Family 5 University program, to teachers with their Fund for Teachers program, to resources with their Oakland Technology Exchange West program. So the 5 programs that we're going to talk to you today are Principal for a Day, First Family 5 University, Oakland Technology Exchange West, Fund for Teachers, and their scholarship program. So Principal for a Day is an event that partners up schools with a community member or volunteer from the business sector. And the point of Principal for a Day is to bridge the gap between the schools and the business partners. So for a day, this volunteer, the business partner or the community member, goes into the school and shadows one of the principals, shadows them through the challenges and the opportunities that they get or they have during the day. This year's event was on November 3rd, and they partnered over 130 schools and community partners. So we hope that they continue their relationship for a really long time. So then another program that we have is the First 5 Family University program. And it's actually supported by a grant from Alameda County First 5. And Family University is run with the aim to support the healthy social, developmental, cognitive, and academic potential of children aged 0 to 5. And there's workshops that are held, and they cover the most essential topics pertaining to this age group, such as building positive self-esteem, getting ready for kindergarten, and supporting early literacy. The workshops are held at 2 different early educational or early childhood development centers, and they're held once a month from the months of October to December. And they're free to register. Every session includes free childcare and a free meal.
The Oakland Technology Exchange West program, also called OTX West for short, is another venue through which Marcus Foster provides resources to the Oakland community for students and for families. So the program provides computers for classrooms as well as personal computers for them to take home. The families and students can come in and first learn how to use the computers if they don't know, and then they can take them home for their personal use, which is useful for not just the students to get their work done, but also just for the family, the resource that's pretty necessary in our society today. And the fund also prides itself on the fact that the computers they provide are refurbished computers so that they divert electronic equipment from going into landfills, and so they contribute to the environment as well.
Like Betty mentioned earlier, Marcus Foster really tries to focus on all aspects of education. So the Fund for Teachers program is a program that provides grants to qualified Oakland school teachers. And this money allows the teachers to design their own summer fellowship program where they can travel abroad and enhance their professional development. So just this past summer, teachers have gone to Mexico, Canada, Egypt, and Guatemala.
No, we're still here. Lastly is the College Scholarship Program, which has been the core program since the foundation of Marcus Foster, so that's been 35 years now. For the class of 2009, this past year, they provided 84 scholarships totaling $400,000, and the scholarships are generally $1,000 to $15,000, and so the $15,000 scholarship is provided over the course of the 4 years of college. And what stands out about the recipients is that most of them are low income, have single parents. Some parents haven't graduated from high school. Most of them are first generation students, and a lot of parents don't speak English. So 85% of those families the students who got scholarships last year were from low income families. And the $15,000 scholarship is only provided to students who are first generation and low income. So this is a big contribution to their ability to continue in their higher education. And the statistics alone show that they're very resilient students to be eligible for college. And so they provide this scholarship along with literacy and banking courses to help them manage the money when they do get it, so that they ensure that their contribution is not wasted, and to just help guide the students.
So our Marcus Foster experience. So while I was in Marcus Foster, I worked almost exclusively with Leo, our program manager, and I focused on two major projects while I was there. The first was the Fund for Teachers program, and I would work on summarizing old applications, doing expense reports, maybe summarizing the whole program for the newsletter. And when I was all done with this work, I would restart the cycle by doing outreach to Oakland Public Schools to teach them, to tell teachers about the program. And the second program that I worked on was actually a brand new program. It's a mentoring program to pair with our college scholarship program. And it's actually done with the assistance of the East Bay College Fund. And my task was to create a mentor evaluation from scratch. And I would draw on not only my creativity, but also what I learned from sociology and specifically what I learned from this course in doing that. And I'm really thankful for that experience.
I worked only under Miko, well, for the most part, doing the donor tracking. So I got to see a lot of what kind of individuals and businesses and corporations contribute to this fund, from groups that have been contributing for years and multiple times a month, like the Port of Oakland. And these sponsors are listed on their website and at different events because they've been so dedicated. So Port of Oakland, PG&E, down to just friends of board members and things like that. So I did donor tracking, and I also managed correspondence, like thank you letters to these donors. Even though they're constant contributors, the fund still likes to show their gratitude every time they give. And so I managed that. And other correspondence for Principal for a Day, making reminder phone calls, making sure people understood their forms and getting the forms turned in or faxing them back to me. And so I feel like most of this fell under the human resources and the accounting that Miko does. That was a really big part of what goes on behind the scenes that you don't get to see in the programs. And then lastly, I was assigned to a Facebook page was recently created for the fund, and I was attempting to manage that page. It's coming slow, but after Principal for a Day, I decided that the best thing to do was to add those people as friends on Facebook, because it's all about, expanding the network. So even though we're done at the fund, I have the list of Principal for a Day participants, and I'm gonna, after finals, go search those people.
So my tasks were both under Miko and Leo. So under Miko, I also did donation tracking. So like Elizabeth, I was able to notice who's donating, how much they're donating, and like where the money goes. And it's really interesting to see the location of Marcus Foster is 12th Street City Civic Center. So they are surrounded by all kinds of businesses. So it's really interesting to see which one of those businesses actually help out Marcus Foster. Also, like Elizabeth said, I helped write thank you letters to our donors. Thank before we bank. That's our motto. And then lots of organization for Principal for a Day stuff. So getting directions for all the participants and the principals, putting together the packets that we gave out, calling people, reminding them that the Principal for a Day event was, coming up. Calling was really interesting for me. I was really afraid of the phone for a while. Didn't want to touch it when it rang. I kind of froze. But it was really fun, like calling them and, telling them, hey, Principal for a Day. They were all really excited. Under Leo, I did a lot of the data organizing for the Family University program. So when they registered, I had them, wrote down their name, if they attended or not, just their personal data that was on the registration form. And I also wrote articles for their Fund for Teachers. I took one of the applications and wrote an article for the newsletter, which is actually in the newsletter. So it was really exciting to see my article there. And I'm also working on a college resource book for incoming college students. So I'm taking a lot of my experiences, a lot of the stuff that we've learned in class, and just other things that other people have told me about their college experience, and kind of incorporating that into the resource book. So because of the abundance of tasks that we each had, we all took something different from it. For me, as I mentioned before, Marcus Foster deals with all kinds of different aspects of the education system. So for me, the Family University program was the one that hit closest to home. The Family University, it targets, lower income families. It gives them the support that they need to help their children succeed. And coming from a low income family, like I could understand what support that is and how important it is for families. So I think that the Family University program is a great program. I mean, what better way to start your children what better way to help your children succeed than from the beginning? So I think that in terms of that, Marcus Foster does a really good job with helping students succeed, not only in the college level, but starting young.
What stood out to me in my experience was definitely seeing social capital at work, because as a sociology student, that's something I've learned about from Social 1 on up. And I think it didn't really seem real to me. Like, just not really knowing how that would play out and seeing a social network and resources that you can use. And I think from the first, maybe the second week or third week, just seeing the first list of donors that I had to track kind of shocked me. And as I went on, I saw like the commitment of those donors, the friends of board members or the Port of Oakland, whose donation comes in so consistently. And as I went along, I started to realize that it's because of the good relations that, over 35 years, the good relationships that have been built with those organizations. And even down to the day before Principal for a Day event, I was in the office, and I was making phone calls to remind people that it's the next day, make sure they had directions. And I knew that two or three participants had backed out or gotten sick. And someone's secretary called me back that I had been calling, and Miko took the opportunity to speak to that secretary and find out if they had any more staff that could volunteer to fill those positions. And so I think that just making sure that the people know, they don't see Marcus Foster as just someone on their list of people to donate to for a tax write-off, but they know the people in the office, they know what you're doing, and even their staff feel connected enough to volunteer, their day and spend their lunch hour with the program. So I got to see social capital really at work and understand how to just extend your network and really make it a strong and useful network of people.
I'll be adding on to what Elizabeth said about the Principal for a Day, but before I do that, I want to discuss what I really took out of this experience. And the main thing I learned was just the problem of outreach. I think all of us here in this room are deeply invested with education, but we also understand that the Oakland Public Unified School District has had a rough reputation. But what we understand is that there have been improvements of late, but the key is to get this out to the public, to involve the community. And I think Principal for a Day was a big step in that direction. And a lot of my work at Marcus Foster, whether calling teachers for the Fund for Teachers program, writing newsletter articles, which was a very nervous experience, nerve-wracking. But a lot of that was focused on outreach. And which leads me to Principal for a Day, which is really, I think, the key event that happened while I was at Marcus Foster. And I want to share a story from that day. So final thoughts. So as expected, the week leading up to that event were pretty hectic in the office. The phones ringing off the hook, just everybody was stressed out. It was very hectic. But the event went off without a hitch. It was great. And after the event, I saw Leo with a smile on his face walk up to the piano. He was just so relaxed, and he started playing some goofy songs on the piano. And Miko, on their drive back, she was just talking about the event, and I could just see how relaxed and relieved and just how excited she was. And that really reminded me, with all these obstacles that Oakland faces, that really that's why it's worth it. This is why we do what we do. And so with that, I'd like to extend a thank. With that, I'd like to extend a thank you to Miko and Leo for all the hard work they do, their work ethic. It's really an inspiration, just how much they've accomplished. And
with two people.
With two people, it's really amazing.
I was going to say that I think the most important thing about this organization is that these two don't just work for a nonprofit, but they are nonprofit minded like the last day that I was there, which was this Monday, I don't know who these women were. They were waiting for a meeting somewhere else in the building, and they were talking about how they needed furniture for this organization they were starting. And Miko jumped in and said, well, we're moving and we don't need this stuff. Like, do you want it for free? Because we got it for free. And I think that goes into just really embodying the organization that you work for is not just, where your income comes from, but it's the mindset that you carry with you throughout your life. And so, thank you guys.
So we are the young ambassadors for East Bay College Fund. My name is On.
I'm Zach.
I'm Devetta.
And I'm Anna Maria.
East Bay College Fund is a nonprofit organization that aims to help underrepresented students in Oakland and Emeryville attend college and lead successful lives. They do this through scholarships, mentoring, and a network of people helping them make the journey from high school graduation to college graduation. Their mission statement reads, East Bay College Fund helps resilient public high school seniors underrepresented in higher education go to college and expand their life opportunities. East Bay College Fund aspires to involve the whole community in providing college scholarships, mentoring, and support networks to assist these young people in realizing their full potential.
So East Bay College Fund was formed by Andy Fremder, along with a committed group of citizens, educators, and community activists. It was modeled after Meritus College Fund in San Francisco, which is a highly successful scholarship-based program that helps, helps close the achievement gap in San Francisco. So this was seen as a positive step in East Bay to address these issues of cultural capital and so forth. And in this process, grassroots efforts and contributions from a wide variety of individuals and foundations, similar to Marcus Foster and a lot of the other organizations, allow East Bay College Fund to continue to grow, and it's supporting over 60 continuing scholars and grants at least 15 additional awards annually.
So there are currently 11 official board members, 2 of which are present today, Professor Tom Gold and Julie, and they come from various backgrounds, including marketing to business to education. And there's also 3 paid staff members, including Michelle Davenport, the executive director, Susan, the college counselor, and Van Nugent, Van Wyn, the program assistant and selection process assistant.
So the heart of East Bay College Fund are their mentors and their scholars. The scholars are picked from various Oakland high schools and one high school in Emeryville. They like to focus on Black and Latino males because their numbers are so low in higher education. And they pick resilient high school seniors who they believe could make it through the process despite their hardships. They focus on B and B+ students because those students are least likely to get outside scholarships, but they're also very likely to make it through college. And the scholars are expected to be accountable and keep in contact with the organization and their mentors. The mentors help support the scholars emotionally and help them to have a successful college career. They look for reliable college graduates from the community to mentor the students so that they can relate in one way or another. They provide scholars with advice, networking, and networking opportunities, and the mentors are expected to maintain monthly contact with the scholars. And in the picture is Brittany Chambers, who goes to Cal, and Maria is also a mentor.
So some of the stuff I did, and I had the privilege of assisting and working with Susan Kiter, who is the college counselor for East Bay College Fund. She plays a pivotal role in assisting these young scholars with any type of guidance for them to ease into college and help them just transition into being a successful college student. Some of the duties that I had was basically data entry, overall clerical duties, and my main project was to develop a scholarship resource page for our scholars to help navigate and help them find available scholarships for them to apply to. one of the most important roles for not only my duty, but for Susan's duty is to basically help these students adapt into college. We all know that the transition from high school to college could be an overwhelming thing. Students could just get overwhelmed with the workload. They could just basically just fall off track simply because they don't have the support or the inspiration for them to really finish college. And nonprofit organizations such as East Bay College Fund helps this in a tremendous way by promoting success for underrepresented youth by providing financial, educational, and emotional support. Here in this picture, we have Yahya Abdul Mateen. He is a East Bay College Fund scholar who is also a Cal Berkeley alumni. He recently just graduated in May 2009.
I got to work with this wonderful lady right here, Michelle Davenport, who's sitting over here in the corner. So my experiences were to be kind of a creative tech with East Bay College Fund, and to work on my main project was creating greeting cards. And time is definitely a valuable resource, which I will explain in a second, but this has been something that's been wanting to been accomplished for years now, and it just, because of other things that are on the priority list, it didn't make its way up. So I did finally finish the greeting cards, which not only entailed a bunch of technical stuff as far as bleed size and colors and whatnot, but it was very intricate in selecting the right pictures that are going to represent East Bay College Fund correctly, and people that are going to look at this card and want to get involved. So there was a lot of in-depth kind of research involved with this project. Second project that I work on, and I didn't complete it yet, but is the mentor recruitment brochure. So far, they only have kind of a one-sheet pamphlet that tells what mentoring is all about to try to get people to get involved with the organization. So I'm just creating a little bit more catchy and kind of handy thing for them to be able to get more mentors involved. And in working with East Bay College Fund, I got to realize a lot of the challenges in running a nonprofit organization. Some of these are internal and external, but it's important to know that they're all interrelated with each other. Some internal challenges is keeping up the momentum and the success. Michelle Davenport, extremely energetic and aspirational individual who is always just keeping up the momentum. As well, East Bay College Fund has to strive to keep their scholars being successful and to keep those rates up always. So with this, you got to think there's a lot of external factors that are involved in here. So some people can look at the consequences of public policy. For instance, in 1996, the shift from AFDC to TANF, which I'm not going to go into detail, but this causes a lot of just difficulties for families, especially low income. As well, the fee increases that are going to happen next year. I'm very confident that East Bay College Fund will adapt to these new external situations to lead a great organization like they have been. And also this can relate to this article called Good to Great, in that East Bay College Fund has to balance being like a business in a sense to manage time efficiently in the bureaucratic structures, but in a sense it has to not think that being like a business is the way to be successful. And there's other things like personal satisfaction of the students and things that can't be measured in terms of financial investment and returns. Yeah.
Okay, and I worked under Van, who couldn't make it today, and her job description is the program assistant selection process assistant. And the selection process doesn't occur until next semester, where they send out the applications, have them apply, and choose the next term of scholars. So therefore, like most of our tasks this semester were focused on events, and we created the mentor reception invitation and had those sent out. And the mentor reception is an annual event to show appreciation to the mentors. Like, they're doing this because they genuinely have an interest in East Bay College Fund's mission statement, and not because they have to or they want to place it on a resume. And it's not only to show like appreciation for them, but also give potential volunteers and those who are considering volunteering with and mentoring with East Bay College Fund, try to sort of like show them the culture of East Bay College Fund and what they represent. I also put together a scholar and mentor evaluation spreadsheet tracking like this last term's, just their grades on both the mentors and the scholars. But after looking at all the evaluations, it was clear that the scholars genuinely appreciate their mentor. They may not have like a parent figure at home, someone who went through the college experience, and it's nice to be able to call someone who knows what you're going through and who's willing to take you out during stressful times such as finals, etc. In addition, I sent out board invitations for meetings this semester in early January, and I was also responsible for calling scholars to make sure they had in their paperwork for the grant work that we need to be able to keep this program running. I'm just going to briefly give you the importance of volunteers, not only the scholars and the mentors in the organization, but the importance of having volunteers. And volunteers are people who have they're unpaid, they're people who really believe in the organization and the organization and its mission statement. They're able to enact programs that are not on the priority list, but will benefit the program, and they often become financial donors and mentors in the future.
So speaking of volunteers, I work with Julie, who is a volunteer at the organization, and she's the marketing director. And she's very unique in that she had a lot of experience in marketing, and she's applying it towards a nonprofit now instead of a business. So we worked together in trying to track the differences between those who completed the program and graduated college, and then those who didn't complete the program or dropped out of college, to try to figure out why this occurred and why the organization couldn't see this in the beginning. This helps to improve the organization, improve the selection process, and it was also used to help develop marketing presentations to show to the board. I also looked for grants for the organization, so I went on websites and looked up grants that the organization could apply to, and which is very helpful because this is where a lot of the money comes from. And I also worked on a Google grant, and a Google grant is a grant that Google awards to nonprofits. And so when you search like East Bay or Mentor Scholarship, then East Bay College Fund will come up as a sponsored result, so people will see us first. And this experience really opened my eyes to sort of like how to market a nonprofit, because what East Bay College Fund is, they really use their successes to kind of get more money. So it's like a cycle of they create these scholarships for the students, and the students have great relationships with their mentors, and these great relationships are publicized, and then everyone wants to join East Bay College Fund. And also just with networking and social capital, East Bay College Fund has a huge networking circle through their mentors and the staff and the board. And everyone involved in the organization uses this to help the students. So they have life skills workshops. They have a financial literacy workshop. They have a database that allows the students to look at which people in the organization are in careers that they're interested in. And all this is very beneficial to students because most of the students where they're from, they don't have opportunities to these sort of things. And also just because the organization gives money to the students, it allows them to go to higher education. As many of us in this room know, there are many things that you learn in college that you don't really learn anywhere else. You learn how to deal with people and deal with like a bureaucracy and all things like that. So both the networking and the opportunity to attend higher education gives these students very valuable social capital to help them with future successes. And we would like to thank East Bay College Fund for allowing us to intern with them. All of us had a really great experience, and it was very eye-opening.
And we specifically want to thank Michelle, Julie, Susan, and Van, who they took the time to train us, and they allowed us to join their board. And I think it's important to note that these individuals, they don't just work on the clock, they're fulfilling the mission at home on their spare time, which I think is I admire you guys for doing such. And we just want to say thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, just want to start off. We are the group who worked for the East Bay Consortium, which is a nonprofit based in Oakland aimed at education. It's actually located right next to Oakland Unified School District. And we're just going to start off by introducing ourselves. My name is David.
My name is Hui.
And I'm Kevin. Okay, so first of all, we'll talk about the East Bay Consortium's mission statement. The East Bay Consortium's mission is to increase the number of students finishing high school and enrolling in post-secondary institutions through intensive educational enrichment. They offer many resources to help improve educational opportunities for students. Through these resources and efforts, they promote their success in secondary schools and in college. Most of the programs serve primarily students from low-income families or environments with historically low college attendance rates. So basically, they serve to help students finish high school and go to post-secondary institutions, and they serve those areas that have historically low college attendance rates. So basically, those who are usually marginalized or forgotten about, they take care of them.
So here's a brief history of East Bay Consortium. It was established in 1978, part of CalSOAP, which is a program that was founded by California Student Aid Commission. So it's been in operation for 31 years, and like we mentioned, it's been helping the East Bay community through various programs aimed at its mission. So we're going to start off by going into some of the programs of EBC, and we'll let the program speak for the organization itself.
Okay, so there's the Pre-Collegiate Academy, which engages students at a very young age, starting at 6th grade. And it's basically an educational enrichment program that runs through high school. And it aims to get children involved in education and excited about education before they become apathetic and aren't interested in it anymore. And like it says, it's for middle and secondary schools. It helps them during middle and secondary schools and prepares them for college. Those are the main goals.
The PCA program starts with 6th grade. They pick students from 6th grade, and they have summer programs to help them do better in high school. And then they have academic year programs in order to give them more information about college in order to prepare them for financial aid forms and college applications.
So next they have the College and Career Information Center, which is actually located in 2 different locations in Oakland itself, out of Life Academy and Castlemont. So yeah, it provides career and counseling and towards education goals and also career goals for the students within those 2 locations, which is very helpful because actually those locations lack counseling, so this, the students find this, very helpful, very useful in order to fulfill their, their what they want to look towards. And actually worked with Nancy, who runs the CCIC in both of these schools, with another project where we were actually helped her out with a presentation focusing on Spanish-speaking parents and trying to get college information across to the parents themselves. So it was a pretty informative workshop. It happened on a weekday night, and they had a lot of questions, and a lot of questions were answered, and it was a very good experience to actually help out with that.
So there's also the College Resource Center, which is located on site next to the East Bay Consortium main office. And it's also located across from the Dewey Academy, which is a school, an Oakland school. And this provides resources such as a computer lab, ACT and SAT prep books, and college and scholarship information. And basically, we learned that schools have different numbers of AP classes. Some schools have counselors, some don't. So really, they close the gap that some children don't have access to certain things like SAT and ACT preparation, financial aid information and such. And it's staffed by volunteers and employees who are ready to assist the students. Every time I've been in there, I do a lot of work in there. There's always Mai and Tasha who work there. And they really, girls and boys who are working on college apps will have problems with, they don't know what to write, or they don't know how to turn it in, or they think they submitted it wrong, and they're always there to help them with those questions that really can cause big problems and sort of hinder students in the process.
Cast for College is a program in the East Bay Consortium. They facilitate over 50 workshops in January and February throughout the East Bay. They assist with students and families filling out the FAFSA form because it's difficult for people in these communities to fill out the FAFSA form themselves. And as an incentive, they have one $1,000 scholarship that's awarded at each workshop. So that's an extra incentive for people to actually come, and it's an additional help in people who don't know how to fill out the FAFSA to fill it out.
So I'm going to talk briefly about College Day, which is a big event that East Bay Consortium runs every year. It happened this year, I believe, in September, if I'm not mistaken. So it's hosted at UC Berkeley, and it's been running for 32 years. They have a variety of workshops ranging from topics like I put here, financial aid, admissions, transfer procedures. They have over 60 different college representatives from around the country. Private universities and public universities that have information for the students that come to this program every year. And it serves not only students, but also parents. I mean, they have workshops set up for parents regarding financial aid or the college process themselves, college application, as well as students. And it's not only just for transferring, for directly going into a four-year university, there's also transfer workshops. And it just covers a wide range of topics. I actually had the opportunity to work, to volunteer for College Day itself. And I got there early in the morning, like around 7 a.m., and did some setting up. The actual program itself started up at 8:30, and I helped out with college representatives getting into their assigned tables, and it was a pretty interesting experience to do that. I also asked before, actually, even if I could bring, I have a younger brother and sister, and I did, so I got the different perspective. Not only did I assist, but I actually was part of it with my younger brother and sister, and they went around, talked to all these different representatives, got a lot of information regarding colleges, and they're still receiving information from the colleges they signed up for today. So they were really excited about it. I got really excited about it because seeing how excited they were. They're in junior high and first year of high school, so.
So EBC has more than just these core programs. They have tutoring and mentoring that they have at their College Resource Center and their College Information Center at Castlemont. And these are just to help people with academic or just social problems. They could always come in to get help with math problems, science problems, or they could come in just to talk to mentors and staff members. Another program is I'm Going to College, and that program involves taking fifth graders and going to a college. They focus on going to Cal, and it's for fifth graders, and one of the schools that actually have fifth graders that are going through this program is Think College Now. And it's pretty much a program where you get fifth graders to experience the college experience, so it ingrains in them, I'm going to go into college, or this is what college is about. And Transfer Making It Happen is a program that helps high school students and community college students understand the opportunities and the process of transferring from community college to a four-year institution.
Yeah, and then there's the parent programs and workshops where they basically inform parents about the educational opportunities that exist for their kids. They also have activities where they engage parents with their kids in science activities and hands-on learning. So it makes it sort of a usual, comfortable, at-home encounter to really learn with the parents. All right, you want to go first, Lawrence? All right, well, this is what we did, and basically a lot of what we were supposed to do is continue to get the word out about the opportunities that exist. I wrote an article about an EBC scholarship recipient. Her name is Jaliza, and she goes to San Francisco State now. And I basically talked to her, asked her what the benefits are. She was with EBC since she was 11, so she was a good person to talk to. And she talked about the benefits that she received from mentoring, also just financial aid, the EBC scholarship, how that has made her life so much easier. And then I also did a lot of administrative work. And one thing that I found really interesting was I was looking through, after college day, I was looking through an envelope with a bunch of information and evaluations. And there was a map of UC Berkeley with little highlighted spots of where they were going to put different signs all around campus directing people to the college day, such that if you came onto campus from any direction and didn't know where you were, they would show you how to get there. And that sort of shows the dedication and like attention to detail to fight the apathy that a lot of students have towards education.
I work on the PR project. The goal of the PR project is in order to give community and the media information about East Bay Consortium. And these help with two goals. One is to give information to students so that they know that EBC is actually out there, so they can get resources they need or help that they actually need in order to go to college. The second goal is in order to give the media and the community information about what EBC really does. So this, in a way, helps them to get funding for their various programs or expand their programs. And my job for the project is to interview people. I interviewed 2 Cal students here, and pretty much I'm supposed to write a story based on these interviews of how EBC affect them or how EBC altered their future of instead of going to community college or vocational school or being in the streets to actually going to a 4-year institution and actually getting an education. And in the end, the stories from these PR projects will be posted on their website and sent out to different media forums in order to give the community and the media information about EBC.
So I was assigned to the same task of PR, and what I did, being that I actually participated with the College Day event that East Bay Consortium holds, I was able to write an article on that and give a perspective of assisting and also a perspective of actually attending. And in my article, I try to highlight a lot of the workshops and the valuable information that a lot of the students and parents both can gain from going to College Day. And I'm currently in the process of writing an article with one of their scholarship recipients from the East Bay Consortium. So she expressed how grateful she was to get this and how helpful it was and to gain the scholarship from East Bay Consortium. And the whole purpose of this is, as was mentioned, to actually promote East Bay Consortium and also so they can gain recognition, probably, so not only maybe to help out funding and also put them in the spotlight so other students can actually come and get the help that if they need assistance or whatever for college-bound kids.
All right, so what we learned, I kind of talked about this earlier, but not all schools are created equally. Disparities between schools within the East Bay regarding available AP classes, college counseling, and after-school programs. Basically, EBC aims to close this gap and give those, or make them available to everyone. And try not just make it available, but engage students actively and get them involved in it. EBC and other nonprofits work to close this gap. They have the resources, they have donated computers, test books, and really they focus on those who are most often forgotten about, which is very important. You guys want to say anything else? Sure.
Yeah, so to kind of build off of that, the disparities between the schools in Oakland, that's where EBC is looking to close that gap and to help out with the different schools. I mean, just looking at Oakland schools, comparing them, what I've learned is that not all schools are created equally. You can see some schools with a limited amount of AP classes where you can compare, I won't say any names particular, but you compare other schools where they have a large variety of AP classes and they're more geared to trying to get their students into college or into a four-year institution or even two-year institutions. So East Bay Consortium steps in and tries to assist the other students that like from the underfunded schools or the ones that don't have the resources or the programs that are aiming to put those children into higher education. Yeah. And so I just want to say that thank you for Monica, the director, allowing us to help, and all the rest of the staff over at UBC.
Great. Well, these have been, I found, very informative presentations. We have plenty of time for question and answer. So Tim, if somebody has a question, do I want to pass the mic to them, or how do we want to do that? Yeah. Okay, so we can open floor if any of the students, if you want to pretend this is just another class and you want to compare notes or ask questions, but in particular, I'd like to ask our partners if they have any questions or comments that you want to offer. So we have about 15 or 20 minutes for open mic. Anybody want to go first? Don't make me stand here while the camera's running. Oh, gee. David?
Okay. So, again, I'm David Silver, principal of Think College Now Elementary School. And, you know, we presented, the different organizations presented before. And I just wanted to first really appreciate all the work that you guys do. You guys have so much stuff going on with finals and with all the different things at Cal. And for you to take the time out of your busy schedules here and really connect with our kids, connect with our organizations, and think about what you can do out of the classroom. There's so much need out there, and there's so much energy in here. And if we can connect that need with the energy in here, not just in this class, I'm just hopeful, and I guess my question to you all is, not just those from Think College Now, but anyone else, how are you going to take this experience? How has this changed you and impacted you in such a way that when you go up and as a Cal graduate where you have tons of different opportunities to do all these different things, how are you going to make sure that this experience stays with you when you make that decision in terms of what you're going to do in the future?
Anybody want to take that on?
For me, like I've always known that I was going to give back to the community. I've always been passionate about working with the community that similar to what I was brought up to. But I think what I learned from this class is that, you know, every time people ask me what I want to be when I grow up or what I'm going to do, my answer is always, I'm going to save the world. And that's always been that since I was like 10, and I'm still 22, and I still say I'm going to save the world. And I really, truly believe that I'm a superhero behind, you know, my human appearance. But I think that what I'm going to take from this class is realizing that the little work needs to get done too, and no work is little in the sense, I don't mean little as in value, but like little things like making phone calls, that kind of stuff needs to get done, because those are all steps towards, you know, making a change, towards having an impact. So I definitely learned that, you know, at times it was frustrating, like, oh, these phone calls, but I feel like, you know, those little phone calls went a long way.
I guess for me, what was most relevant as far as this experience is the fact that, as I mentioned on my slide, I have this stereotypical idea, because that's what we are taught, that non-affluent communities are disadvantaged, and it's extremely difficult to break out of the cycle of poverty. But I guess what I didn't realize, but I did now by, you know, working with TCN, is that the little things, a phone call, writing an email, whatever it is, it's those things that piled up, you know, truly make a difference. And as much as I think of my life as extremely busy and I don't have time, if I really, reflect on the time how I use my time, there's so much that I can do, even if I'm not directly involved or working for one of these organizations. There's tons of time that I don't know what to do with myself, and I'm just wasting time. And again, there's the need is out there. So that's the great lesson for me.
I think there's, how many? 3 students in this class have applied for Teach for America?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say that this experience really cemented now that I really do want to be a teacher and, really work to try to increase educational equity. And I'm gonna apply to get my teaching credential and master's after this, and also apply to the Teach LA/Compton program, which serves low-income minority students and really focuses on a teaching that's multicultural and tries to make it relevant to them, which I think is very important. And so, I just take from this experience and listening to everyone's experience that this is really where my passion lies. Yeah.
I, through this experience, really learned that a nonprofit doesn't just look one way. When I thought of a nonprofit, I kind of thought of a big organization, kind of like TCN. And then when I went to East Bay College Fund, it was one office and 2 people, and I was like, oh. And so, but as I went through my internship, I realized how successful they are and what they do makes a really huge impact in these students' lives, and that you don't have to have a huge office and tons of people to be successful. And it kind of it really changed my view of what a nonprofit is and what a small group of people can do. And the little things are really important, because everyone at East Bay College Fund knows the scholars, and they call the scholars, and they have these mentor receptions that they open their homes for that, and if you put your all into something, it doesn't have to be big and glitzy to be important and to make a difference.
Yeah, through my experience, and I kind of felt this way a lot, and it's not to be pessimistic or anything, but I guess it doesn't sound pessimistic, but I'm just amazed at how much slack and how much work all these nonprofits really take up from the lack of the state to really see society as a functional unit and to create the equality that it needs. I mean, without these organizations working at the grassroots level, at least getting, not at least, but getting many students who would have otherwise not graduated college, perhaps, increasing the cultural capital of their generations to come and in their neighborhoods, I mean, I think society would look a lot worse than it does today. So something that I bring from this is that along the road for kids, there's so many things that can go wrong and stray them away from college and from school, which is just one route, but I think a very important route. And so it just reaffirms me that if I am going to go into anything, I need to really think of policy effects that are allowing or not allowing certain groups to prosper. And so I definitely felt that I gained a lot more experience with that, and the complexities of the whole situation, that it really takes the whole community to get involved with this from the start until kids are out of college, and then some other people can deal with them. When do nonprofits take on political activism? I mean, to what point are they overloaded to where they really need to start? And if someone has a better question, just...
Well, I just wanted to share with you that I spent a whole day in San Francisco yesterday meeting with Senators Boxer and Feinstein's office to try to get them to support this new bill that was introduced by Congress so that our funding can continue in the future, because as it is right now, money that we get from the government, from the federal government, runs out next August. So there's all this money that they're talking about that's coming up, but they're still talking about health issues that they've left education behind. And so so we're constantly in the PR that the 3 interns have been working on. It's what they are telling us that we need to do. Write the stories about the students that you've been working with. We need to read more about what it is that you've been doing and the effect that you've had on the students. And that's why we kept pushing. You know, we need to update those stories and talk about the effects that we're having on students, and so that everybody knows what it is that we're doing, and that they can continue to support these kinds of programs.
I think that's a critical question, and I think that a lot of you all have realized how busy everybody is when they're at the schools or the nonprofits or wherever they are, and yet it's so important. I mean, what we're talking about, at least if you're looking at the state budget right now and the education budget, Think College Now, our school is looking to lose over $100,000 this year. We lost over $100,000 last year because it's directly because of the state budget that is approved or not approved. So when we think about it, we have to partner together. A lot of times there's a lot of infighting within the district, between unions, between schools, between district personnel, between the board. And the reality is that if we all got together and went to Capitol Hill and we tried to advocate that we're fighting over crumbs, and we need to do that. There's organizations right now that called Go Public Schools, which is trying to get various constituent groups right now that is from teachers to board members to district personnel to union leadership, all kinds of people getting together and thinking about what can we do to make sure that Oakland public schools, whether they're charter, whether they're public, whether they're whatever, that are serving low-income kids can improve. And what we have to do, I mean, things that they're talking about are like parcel tax. The parcel tax in Oakland is going to be a big deal. Can we actually get one passed? And there's all these political struggles because the charter schools say we must be included, and then the unions say I'm not going to be in there if the charter schools are not there. There's all this stuff when it's a shame because the people who are going to lose are these low-income students because of the different adult politics. So somehow that's an example, and there's other examples that we have to get together because it's not enough money right now.
Let me ask any of our partner organizations to build on this question. Is there an ideal relation between the state and civil society? You guys have all risen to the occasion to address what has been referred to in many of the presentations of the gap, the need that is quite clearly there but is not being addressed by the state. And some in our society, there's some people say, well, it's not the responsibility of the state. We need a minimal state, and society, this is the responsibility of community groups. This is what they should be doing. In an ideal world, what would this relationship look like? Anybody want to take that on?
I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. Well, I mean, the one thing I would say is that, I know 3 of you guys are applying for Teach for America, and the theory of action behind like a group like Teach for America is that. So basically you have generally a bunch of people that usually have power that traditionally have been white and middle class, et cetera. And the idea is that a lot of those people don't have a consciousness of what students in the inner city, of what low-income families go through. So they're making these decisions over here, and yet there's not this consciousness. And so the idea behind Teach for America was not just to have teachers. It was actually it was a two-pronged mission. One is to get teachers in the classroom so that we can close the achievement gap right now. But the second part is to change the existing system such that the people who have power have a consciousness about the different issues and can make a much more educated decision, can use the different relationships and leverage that going forward. So I think that one thing is that in terms of relationship is we have to be in relationship. We have to make sure that there are bridges of communication between nonprofits, between the state, et cetera, instead of people in closed doors making decisions that don't have consciousness going forward.
Okay, well, let me then make some, oh, we do.
Actually, it's not a question. It's a statement and a thank you. So I'm Victoria Robinson. I co-direct the Berkeley Engaged Scholarship Initiative, which was developed 2 years ago to enhance the undergraduate curriculum at UC Berkeley by building community partnerships. And you talked about change. And one of the elements of change that this initiative hoped to achieve was to change the culture of our academy, to give an experience to undergraduates that was really based on the idea of a public good. And I have to say that Professor Gold has completely met that expectation. So I want to applaud not only the community partners and not only the students involved in this course. You've been witness to what we might think of as a pioneering experience at UC Berkeley. This has never been attempted before. And I think that in Professor Gold and Maria, thank you very much, we have an example to set forward for UC Berkeley, not only in terms of what we should be doing with our education, but how when education is done well, it involves these kind of experiences. So thank you, Professor Gold, for taking this on. You took on a lot of work in agreeing to be part of this initiative, and we very much appreciate it. So thank you.
I guess it's time to announce my retirement. And you're going to add to my, if there's a pension. If no one else has anything to say, let me just offer a few final thoughts. First of all, I would like to thank Victoria for and Megan, who unfortunately has the bug and can't be with us today, for the inspiration for starting this program and for the support that you've offered. I certainly sensed a certain amount of skepticism at the beginning about whether we could pull this off. And I have to admit, I think with Maria's help, with your help, and with the help of the students in the class and this extraordinary set of partners, that I think we really have got something to be proud of. So I want to thank also our partners for your willingness to take raw recruits, even though many of them, not really raw recruits, because many of the students in this class have themselves benefited from mentoring programs, have worked as mentors, and they bring a lot of experience as well as social capital, as well as networks to the volunteering internships that they took on. So thank you all, the partners, very much for your support and across the board. Also, this has just been an extraordinary group of students to work with. They have often with some difficulty acknowledged that Maria and I have been improvising as fast as we can. And they have gone with extraordinarily good spirit to their volunteering opportunities and have come back and participated quite actively. I've never had a seminar with such basically 100% participation in discussions. And the mutual learning that has gone on in this class has been extraordinary. And I'm a very selfish person, and boy, I have learned so much from this class that after I retire, I'm going to open an educational consultancy, I think, for profit. That's one thing I've learned. Just some of the things that I've taken away. Also, I think the fact of one of the things that Victoria just mentioned about Berkeley students serving as role models, and where we often we hear about. Pedro, you talked about stereotypes before, but stereotypes of undergraduates as being so apathetic and not concerned with society and not concerned with politics. One of the things that has really struck me over the decades that I've taught here, and not just in this class, is how Cal students really, maybe there's something self-selected about it, but how really dedicated they are to volunteering, whether it's through Stiles Hall, whether it's now through all the other organizations that we've become aware of, that it really is, I think, part of the makeup of a person who comes to Cal as a student. And one of the things that struck me in listening to the presentations is how after only 15 weeks, but even less in terms of time to volunteer, the students have identified with the organizations they've worked with. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard them say, our mission, our organization, we do this, we do that. So that has been that's also really gratifying. And I certainly hope that many of the students will continue to work after they graduate with our partners or with other organizations involved in similar work or something else that they're attracted to. The student, I mentioned in my introductory remarks about how emotionally draining our discussions have been, and they really have been. I've often been quite shattered by the end of 2 hours of intensive discussion. And our class has had a number of emotional highs and lows. And part of the highs, I think more highs than lows, but the highs are the fact that there are people such as our partners and the students who are out there acknowledging these gaps, trying to close these gaps to make a difference in Oakland, in the East Bay, and at the world at large. But the lows are brought about by the fact that there is such a great gap and that there is so much work that has to be done. And it's great that there are so many organizations, but it's also problematic that there are so many organizations competing for, as David just mentioned, increasingly shrinking pie. Whether it's from the state or from an economic crisis, there's less money that can be donated. And so we heard in the presentations there's a division of labor that each of the organizations we've partnered with represents, but there's also a great deal of overlap. And it was encouraging to me to hear the way in which there's movement for the organizations to start working with each other. I think Zach talked before about a market. I mean, there really is some of the ideas of market efficiency, of hard budget constraints need to be taken into consideration even in the nonprofit world. Or especially in the nonprofit world, in order to be able to get the biggest bang for the buck in dealing with so many of these issues. We've talked in our discussion just now about a lot of the small, mundane tasks that need to be done. Nonprofit work is not all glamour. It's not all black tie fundraisers and donated Napa Valley wine. There's a lot of real nitty-gritty grunt work that has to be done. And I think that one of the things that's been so inspiring in this class and in discussion today is the ability to step back and to realize, wow, licking envelopes and making these greeting cards and making these phone calls and going to these schools really does make a difference in the larger scheme of things. And in sociology, we talk about the sociological imagination as recognizing the distinction between, pardon the jargon, personal troubles of milieu and public issues of social structure. Meaning that we've heard a lot of stories of individuals, of children caught in this particular kind of system that in society of the East Bay, in Oakland in particular. But at the same time, we recognize that these are not just personal troubles of individuals in their community, but that they embody, they represent larger issues of East Bay society, of California, of America at large. And we have to work at all these different levels, at the individual level, the community level, the state level, the national level, in order to really try to make a difference in solving these. But a lot of it is just this very nitty-gritty, often quite unglamorous and time-consuming work. And talking about the community, I think one of the things that each of the group represents and is part of everyone's mission is this idea of it taking a village. Certainly every organization that has been represented here has this concept that where our clients might be students, they might be young people, but we have to see them not as isolated individuals, even though in point of fact many of them are out there on their own, but as being part of larger communities. And that when any of the organizations that we're involved with tries to address a problem, it's not just dealing with an individual, but trying to mobilize an entire community or communities to try to figure out ways to deal with it. So that we've looked in this class, we've looked at the composition of the boards of these organizations and the way that when a founder, when a visionary sets up an organization, one of the things that he or she faces right away is trying to set up a board. We talked about social capital, of people who have tentacles into different parts of society. Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but the idea is that they can draw on people from many different parts of society, whether it's for fundraising, of course, but also media placement, getting to government people, recruiting mentors, one thing or another. That it really does take a village. And just finally about how inspiring, how exhausting the work that everyone with our partner organizations and similar organizations is involved in. One of the things we've done during the course is examine mission statements. And we've looked at the way in which the organizations try to take their mission statements seriously and embody them and act on them and achieve the goals set out in the mission statements. And again, it's often when you're involved in the day-to-day activity, it looks like you're not making any progress. And that's why even only 15 weeks after of this course, we've been able to step back and say, oh yeah, by doing this little task, I've helped the organization on its way towards achieving its mission, to fulfilling its mission. And this is I think, something that we can all be proud of. And I think that certainly we salute the staff, the employees, the volunteers of all the organizations that we're dealing with, and where some people are paid, and it is a vocation, really more than anything else, it is a calling. And to get involved in this kind of work it takes over your life, for better or for worse. I think for better. It takes over your life, and it gives a significance to what you're involved in that you might otherwise not be aware of. So maybe I should go back and assume a life in the clergy. I hadn't planned on going into a sermon, but I felt after every session of this class that sermonizing is that this is really, it's a mission. And again, I want to thank everybody for your very enthusiastic support and participation this semester. And good luck on your final exams. Thank you.